Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Health with Dr. Yvette, where we correct myths around health. Today, we're going to be talking about how diet influences weight loss. And today, I'm joined by my friend and colleague, Dr. Ngenda Stumbeko. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. So tell us, how does diet influence weight loss? Or if I want to lose weight, what should be on my plate?
Okay. So, diet and weight loss go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
People say you are what you eat. Basically, what they're trying to entail is if you eat too much of the wrong stuff, you'll probably look like what you're eating.
Mm-hmm.
So, if your aim is to lose weight, to be at an optimal weight, you need to eat the right food. And by the right food, we refer to a balanced diet. So I think the question that you're probably asking is, what's a
What is a balanced
balanced
diet?
diet? Okay, so a balanced diet basically is a diet that incorporates the major macronutrients and micronutrients that our body needs. Simply what I'm trying to say is that that's a diet that will include carbohydrates, it include fats, it include the proteins, the vitamins, the minerals, the elements, and those things that our body needs just to grow and to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So now, as part of the balanced diet, the important thing is the proportions of how we take in those elements. So we'll imagine we have a round plate.
Mm-hmm.
So on that round plate, we'll put a line in the middle, dividing the plate in a half. So on one half of your plate, you want to have your whole grain and protein.
Mm-hmm.
There's various grains that you'd want to have, various types of proteins. I think we'll probably go into details a little bit later. On the other half, you want to divide that into 2/3. 2/3 you want to have vegetables, you want to have your greens, and the remaining 1/3 you want to have your fruit or your fruits. That basically gives you a good balanced diet of what your body needs. And it's a good diet for you to gain weight and to be at an optimal weight.
What do you mean when you say optimal weight? What is optimal weight?
So commonly for us, what we'll use as a reference for weight is the BMI.
Mm-hmm.
You know, an optimal weight for someone who's 6 foot tall and an optimal weight for someone who's 5 feet tall is 5
5 feet.
foot.
Like, do people even know that? Mostly we use in Zambia we use centimeters and
Okay.
meters. So yeah,
Someone who's 150 centimeters or
which is
1.5
1.5
meters,
meters. Yes,
and someone who's 2 meters obviously shouldn't have the
same
same
weight.
ideal
Yes.
weight. Commonly, though, for the average person, they say the ideal weight should be about 70 kg. But when we use the BMI, we want to be in a range of somewhere between 18.5
Mm-hmm.
towards 25.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, BMI is a body mass index, which is calculated by your body weight in kgs with divided by your square meters. So if you are 70 kg and you are 1 meter, so that will be 70 70 divided by 1 meter squared. So yeah,
Exactly.
that's your BMI. So if you get an answer like 19, below 19, you are underweight. From 19 to 24, you're considered normal weight. Then above 24, you're considered overweight, and beyond 30, you're considered obese.
Morbidly obese.
Yes, so that is it.
Okay, yeah, so exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Your ideal weight is dependent on your height. Basically, that's simply how we can put it. So
Okay.
if someone is taller, you expect them to weigh more than someone that's shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Okay, so a lot of people are now becoming obsessed with calculating the amount of calories that are in their food. So you find that someone will would rather take, let's say, 100 calories of vegetables than take 100 calories of meat. But at the end of the day, it's still 100 calories. So there's a model, what they call the calorie model, that talks about how your calories in should be less than your calories out. That's the amount of calories that your body is using to, make heat, to allow you to breathe, for your heart to beat. So you have to take in less calories for your body to burn more calories so that you lose weight. Does that even make sense?
Exactly. So that's in a situation when you're trying to lose weight. That's why you're saying your calorie intake should be less than what you are expending. It means you start to burn more fat. In short, that's the principle behind that.
Yes, you start to burn more fat. The other model, they call it the hormone model.
Mm-hmm.
So the hormone model believes that calories are basically information to your hormones. So for example, if you take let's say a biscuit, you take 100 calories from a biscuit, your body will not react the same way it will react when you take in 100 calories of a fruit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the thing is, when you compare these two types of food, they all contain carbohydrates, sugar, right? But the form of that sugar is different.
Yes.
That's one thing. Another thing is you can compare, let's say, the amount of carbohydrates you get from a vegetable and let's say from some form of fast food, a snack. Even if the amount of calories might be the same, there's a big difference, because if you take your vegetables, it's rich in fiber. So if you take 100, for example, 100 kilocalories worth of vegetables, that's rich in fiber. What that means is you have your meal, let's say 8 hours. Probably it will take longer before you are hungry again.
Yes.
So over time, you'll probably eat less. But if you have a snack like a biscuit, it won't do too much to your stomach. Like, it will probably get digested faster.
Yeah.
And then you get hungry sooner. And soon enough, you have to have another meal. That's why we prefer to have foods that are rich in fiber, especially for those that want to lose weight, because the fiber is what keeps you full, and it's also just good for your GI.
Yeah, it's very interesting that the calories in the biscuit will make you have this insulin spike, a very high insulin spike, unlike the spike you get when you have something like a vegetable and a fruit.
Yes. So that's true.
Almost non-existent.
That's true. So the thing is, when you eat this really processed type of sugar, which you find in snacks, you eat it, you digest it, the blood sugar goes up, your insulin now responds and it shoots just to try and normalize the level of glucose in your blood. But let's say you eat a fruit. The type of sugar that is found in fruits is what I would say as slow releasing, if I can use that term.
Yeah.
Because even if you eat it now, it doesn't cause a sharp increase in the amount of glucose in your blood as much as you would get from having these unhealthy snacks. That's why it's actually recommended to have fruits as a snack.
Yeah. So the fun thing about insulin is that insulin will, as you said, it will try to reduce the blood glucose by allowing this glucose to go into the cells. So what insulin does is that it actually promotes your excess sugars to being made into fat, if I can say that. So it will promote storage of fats, because your excess sugar will become fat. So if you're having unhealthy snacks, meaning that your insulin will be storing the excess sugar as fat, and you'll be asking yourself, why are you gaining weight? But That's what's happening.
Exactly. So the type of food that you're having has an impact on your weight. We say people think you only gain weight by eating food that's rich in fat, but even just the carbohydrates, the sweet stuff, once your body takes it in, it's able to store that as fat as well. So you might not be eating so much, but because you're eating the wrong food, you might be gaining weight, or you might fail to lose weight because of eating the wrong type of food. So other than insulin, you mentioned that insulin, exactly, it's a form of storage hormone. It promotes storage. When you're in a period of fasting, you produce a different hormone, which is glucagon. Glucagon is more of a catabolic hormone, so it promotes breakdown breakdown of the stored glycogen or the sugars, breakdown of the stored fat. So that's a hormone which also plays a role in you trying to lose weight. Remember, if you're eating more frequently, you're eating the wrong stuff, you get too much of the insulin and your glucagon levels are a bit on the lower side. But if you're having periods of fasting, you're eating the right stuff, you have a good balance between your insulin and your glucagon, which helps you in your losing weight.
Yeah, actually, if you're losing weight, you want to have more of the glucagon because you want it to be breaking down.
Exactly. You want to be in a catabolic state.
So there's a formula I came across that says body fat is equal to calories in and calories out. So when we're talking about the calories in, we're talking about basically what you're eating. When we're talking about calories out, we're talking about usually we're talking about your metabolic rate, right? So they say that there's always a balance. Your body fat, let's say your body fat is 10, right? Then your caloric intake is maybe 8, and your basal metabolic rate is let's say 2. That's equal to 10, right? So they say if you reduce your caloric intake, let's say you reduce it to 6. So what your body is going to do is that it will increase your metabolic rate to 4 so that it's balanced, so that the equation balances. So to kind of distort this balance, you need to involve other things. Like this is where exercise now comes in, because when you're exercising, you're using more energy. So meaning your metabolic rate or what you're using is going to increase.
That's true. So when you're doing exercise, there's a lot that's going on. Like you said, you probably need energy. Exercise will require energy. Our body's main source of energy is carbohydrates. But during periods of fasting, we also use fats for energy, right? But primarily, our main source of energy is the carbohydrates. So when you're doing your exercise, your body needs energy. So it uses the energy that is stored. You eat, you store some energy. That's the type of energy you use while you're doing your exercise. So if you're exercising, you're expending energy. If the more you exercise, the more energy you use, more carbohydrates, more fats. That's how come people say, oh, exercising will cause you to burn fat, to lose weight, and all that kind of thing. But even exercise, it's about the right type of exercise that you're doing. Ideally, it's recommended that we should do about 150 minutes of moderate activity, physical activity. Or you could do about 75 minutes of strenuous, vigorous activity. That's in a period of a week. 150 minutes is equivalent to about 30 minutes of exercise for 5 days in a week. That should be good enough. And these are things which apply not only to those who are aiming to lose weight, but even just those who are within the prescribed or the right weight, the optimal weight that we want them to be at.
But then again, it goes back to the equation. There's always a balance. So in as much as you're expending this energy to exercise, your body will make you feel very hungry to want you to replace what you've just used. So you're going to feel very hungry. And that's why when people are from exercising, they feel hungry. And for some reason, in your head, you're like, oh, I'm from working out, I've burnt these things, I've burnt this much calories, I probably could eat these things. Then you end up eating the wrong things.
Exactly.
So I don't think counting calories is really accurate.
So what I think is, if your aim is to lose weight, we started first from the diet, right? And then
Yeah.
now we're incorporating diet and exercise. So while you're burning that excess fat, what you want to do is replace that with the right food, so that while you're doing your exercise, you lose weight, then you maintain the weight at the right weight that you want it to be at. Don't exercise and then eat the wrong food, because it's one step forward, two steps backwards. Basically, you're not really benefiting so much from the exercise as much as you should. So you work on your exercise, you also work on the diet together. That combination is probably what gives you better results if you want to lose weight.
I came across something that was actually talking about how the human body is meant to keep fat for survival mode. It's like our body prepares us for starvation. So that's why it stores all this fat. So when someone loses weight in let's say in 2 months, they lose weight. Maybe they were dieting, or maybe dieting plus exercising, and they stop that. You find that they gain back the weight so fast. Sometimes they even gain back more than they actually were. So this is because your body is trying to get back that fat, because it's like, oh, if a famine comes, I will probably not survive with this amount of fat I have. I need to accumulate. So yeah, that's what the body does. And I know people wonder why they gain more weight after they stop exercising, they stop dieting. That's the reason. It's because your body prepares for starvation.
Yes. So the key thing is, if you want to lose weight and you want to maintain the weight that maybe you've achieved, you need to also maintain your diet, and you also need to maintain your exercise routine. Because if you change your diet and you go back to your ordinary diet, and you probably stop exercising, you go back to your original weight. So when we're talking about that balanced diet, it should be a healthy diet. It shouldn't be a diet which is not sustainable to you. You should enjoy what you're eating. You should pick the right food. It should be healthy, but it should be the right food. It should not feel like you're being forced to eat that food, like you're not enjoying it. You're just doing it for the sake of losing weight.
Mm-hmm.
That's where now we need to do the research on the right type of food that we like and that's healthy to us.
Yeah, that's true. So what they're recommending now is intermittent fasting. That's what they're recommending now. So it's basically or some are calling it time restricted eating, which is almost the same thing. So you're just trying to be more disciplined with your food, with your meals. So if you say that there's what they're calling the 16-18. So you starve for 16 hours and then you eat for 8 hours. Let's say you eat from 7 to 15. So you have your healthy breakfast, you have a balanced diet, you have your fruits, your nuts, your cereal. In the afternoon, you have your lunch. Then you have your supper quite early. You're going to have it at 15. Then from then, you don't eat anything till 7 the following day. So you starve for 16 hours. So you're allowed to take water. You can take plain tea, you can take plain coffee, but you're not allowed to eat anything in that time. And the other method that you can use is what they're calling the time restricted eating. So what you do is you just tell yourself that I'll have breakfast between 8 and 10. If I don't have breakfast between these hours, then I'm not eating breakfast. and then you give yourself 2 hours lunch. You say, I'm eating between maybe 12 and 14. If I don't eat between these hours, I'm not eating at all. I'm not having lunch. Or you can give yourself 2 more hours in the evening. You say, I'm going to be eating between 18 and 20. If I don't eat between these hours, then I'm not eating
So
at all.
what happens then if you don't get a chance to eat between 8 and 10, 12 and 14,
Make
and
sure
18?
you catch the next meal.
Okay.
You catch the next meal. So there's a hormone that's associated with hunger, which is called ghrelin, if I'm not mistaken. So this hormone spikes every time you're supposed to eat. You notice that if you have your breakfast at 8, or if you, let's say you have it at 10, you'll be like, I'm hungry. When you check the time to be 10, like, oh, that's why I'm hungry, I haven't eaten. Or if you feel hungry at 12, you check the time and you're like, I usually have lunch by this time. So it's like this internal clock that's always telling your brain that, oh, it's time to eat. That's why you notice that when you feel hungry at a particular time, if you don't eat, your hunger will eventually go away.
True.
Yeah, that's because your ghrelin, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, it spikes and then it drops. So when it drops, you stop feeling the hunger. So what they've noticed is that if you're having the time restricted eating, or you're fasting intermittently, your level of ghrelin actually goes down. It reduces in your body, so you stop having those spikes
and surges.
Yeah, so you start feeling less hungry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, about eating and timing of meals. Your body has a circadian rhythm, your biological clock, and that thing. So certain hormones will be up at a certain period of time, and then they will affect so much. There's also a correlation between your sleep and your weight. So weight is very complex. There's so many factors that come in place, not just eating. That's why we're trying to go out. Aside from the eating, what other things are affecting your weight? So like we said, the hormones will go up at certain periods of time. They come down, they go up, just like depending on different hormones will spike or go up at different times of the day. There's another school of thought, or you talked about how there's intermittent fasting, and then you said the
time restricted eating.
eating. Other people say it's better to have small meals but slightly frequent, as long as you're eating the right food. So you don't necessarily get too hungry. The problem with getting hungry is that sometimes, especially I don't know if it's only for Black people, the moment they get hungry and they have a chance to eat, they'll eat like there's no tomorrow.
No.
That is where the problem is. So even in the intermittent fasting, you really need to be careful with what you're eating. Yes, you are fasting and you're only eating at certain periods of time, but the quantity of your meals, you will not just eat like there is no tomorrow, So you have to eat the right quantity, the right quality of the food. You don't overeat because, I'm having supper at 15, so I'm not eating anything between now and tomorrow. Then you make sure you eat like 5 lumps of nshima. No, that still becomes wrong.
Interestingly, they're still doing research, but there is an obesity gene that some people actually carry.
That's the thing.
So this gene, it's like your brain has no off when it comes to eating. Your brain keeps on telling your body, you don't have enough fat, you keep on eating. So you keep on eating because you don't have that switch.
Yeah, so it seems like you can say to some degree that there's obesity that runs in families. But again, if you let's say that there's a gene that controls your storage of fat, and that fat is still coming from somewhere. It's still coming from your diet. that fat doesn't just appear from thin air. So if you probably know that you easily gain weight, it means you should be more cautious about what exactly that you are eating.
Okay.
Because there's other people that probably might eat more but not gain. And then there's those that eat less and still have, even if they're eating the same meals.
Yeah, it's genetics.
Yes.
So how, it's just like how when someone is stressed, they'll eat. And then this other person is stressed, they
They'll not
starve.
eat.
So like how are these two people managing this stress differently? Some people are depressed, they'll eat. Others will starve.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more to do with genetics, and I really hope the studies find out what really
that's the
is
thing
going on.
about stress, mental health, and how it affects your body. So you also need to be in the right state of mind for your body to be in good shape. And again, I keep going back to exercise. Exercise also helps you be in that right state of mind. If you're enjoying what you're doing, I think exercise also, your primary aim should not only be to lose weight, but you should enjoy the exercise that you are doing. So it doesn't feel like you're being forced. It also applies to the balanced diet. Don't just eat stuff because they want to lose weight. Because the moment you lose that weight, you probably go to the other stuff which you like, and then you regain that weight. So find stuff that is right, that is healthy, and do that stuff. Yeah.
That's true. So when it comes to exercise, what would you recommend?
So that's the thing.
Is
Exercise.
it cardio? Is it strength training?
So you probably need a bit of a balance of your cardio and strength training. But mostly what you would recommend is the cardio, because cardio is probably what helps you get rid of some of that weight. So for cardio, you've got different options. Walking is actually an exercise. Though here most of us we just walk, maybe probably because we don't have an opportunity to drive or something. Or we probably use the stairs only when there's no elevator or escalator or something like that. But walking is a form of exercise. It's a good exercise, especially even for those that are a little bit elderly who probably maybe can't run. Other than walking, cycling, riding a bicycle, very good exercise. Swimming, these are probably activities which people can enjoy while they're doing them. For me personally, I don't like jogging. Jogging is not a good exercise for me, but I would rather play football. So while playing football, I'll probably be running a bit, and that's another form of exercise. So if you don't enjoy jogging and you want to lose weight, it's not the best. Find a sport maybe that will involve you running a bit, but at least you are enjoying it while you're doing it. That's the point.
I think enjoying is really a key thing, other than you feeling like you're being punished to do something.
Exactly.
So,
Exercise shouldn't feel like punishment. Otherwise, it won't be sustainable.
well, that's very true. I mean, I myself, I play squash, although it injured me, but oh well.
Yes.
That happens. Speaking of injuries, it's very common to find that obese people have things like arthritis, because of course your weight puts pressure on your joints, which makes it harder. So if you've noticed that you're gaining weight before it gets to a point where you're having all these medical complications, I think it's time that we start working on it.
Yeah, so it's good you've brought up certain conditions that are related to obesity, medical conditions. So you've talked about arthritis, basically. So if you're straining your joints because you're carrying too much weight, that's not a good thing. But we have other things: hypertension, we have diabetes, certain types of malignancies that are related to increased weight, and certain diets will help fight or basically help you avoid getting some of these conditions, if I can say it in that way. So different types of diet: the Mediterranean diet, there's what they're calling a DASH diet.
Oh yeah, a diet to avoid
Diet
hypertension.
approach
Oh, diet
for
approach.
stopping hypertension.
Yeah.
And then there's also a mind diet, which is a Mediterranean intervention,
Mm-hmm.
basically to delay neurodevelopmental conditions which come with age, such as dementia and Alzheimer's, those kind of conditions that affect. Yeah.
What foods do we have in these various diets?
So emphasis, especially for the Mediterranean diet, will be the greens, your veggies, and your fruits.
Mm-hmm.
They say colorful fruits of different colors. Let's not just stick to apples or bananas. They say
Yeah.
an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but we've got more options of fruits. We can have watermelons, we can have avocados.
Yeah.
Avocado is a
They're
very
actually
good fruit.
calling that the rainbow diet. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've just heard of that now.
Yeah.
But exactly, avocado is very good fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Other than fruits, we also have certain what we'll call root vegetables, like carrots. Potatoes are also good, but you need to know how to prepare them. Don't eat chips or something, fries, if that's what you want to do to lose weight. But boil your potatoes, allow them to cool. Then it forms what they call resistant starch. Resistant starch is basically good for those that want to lose weight. And potatoes might also keep you full for longer, which is the advantage of having potatoes.
Mm-hmm. Although another thing, research actually shows that unpeeled potatoes are the best.
Again,
Yeah.
goes back to fiber.
Yeah,
If you don't
because
peel your potatoes,
you have a lot of fiber. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, fiber is good. It reduces the risk of colon and rectal cancer. And also it helps you keep your weight at least in check. So some people don't really understand that's the whole point of fiber. Even for people with conditions like hemorrhoids, you advise them to
Take a
take
lot of fiber.
food with rich in fiber, and you also want to take enough water. As part of your balanced diet, it's important that you take enough water. Water will probably, people will say about 2 liters of water a day.
Yeah.
But it depends also on how much activity you're doing. Because if you're going to a gym, you're doing a lot of sports, you probably need to take more water than that.
Yeah, and fiber plus water will make your stool have a nice texture. You won't even struggle going to the toilet. But if you don't have enough water, you don't have enough fiber, you struggle going to the toilet. You may
be a
be
nightmare.
constipated. You may go to the toilet and it's just pellets coming out, like a goat. That's a sign of constipation, not a good thing. So take a lot of water and take a lot of fiber.
Yes. Very accurate, actually. Water and fiber, very essential to a good diet.
Yes.
People think, don't focus too much on drinks. There's certain people who don't take water and say, oh, I'm drinking juice or I'm drinking this. You need water, pure water as part of your diet, not just fluids and liquids. Because certain fluids, sweet drinks can actually cause you to be dehydrated.
Yeah. So actually, fun fact is that some studies that have been done have actually shown that these boxed fruit juices actually contain as much sugar as Coca-Cola does.
So, in short, probably what you're trying to say is if you're going to make a juice, a homemade juice would be good.
Exactly.
Use your pineapples, your watermelons, blend it, make your own juice, make your own shake. At least you know that's natural and then it's good.
One of these specialists was actually saying that it's better that you even get a Coca-Cola than get these these boxed fruit juices, because that there's sugar in a Coca-Cola, but with the fruit juices, you are thinking that there's no sugar, or you thinking that the sugar that's in that fruit juice is
good sugar.
Is better, but it's the same sugar. So for you to be safe, it's better you make your own juice at home, or if you want orange juice, take the orange itself.
Yeah.
And you'll be getting the juice. You'll also be getting the fiber from the orange. So I guess a win is a win.
A win is a win. That's true. There's some juices though they say no added sugar. So Probably we need
Yeah,
to
they say that.
Coke Zero. I'm sure you know what we mean. It's still Coke.
Yeah, but has less sugar.
I still wouldn't recommend for someone who's probably trying to lose weight. Stick to your water, stick to your natural stuff. Not even those who are trying to lose weight, but those who are trying to be as healthy as possible. You know, the important thing when it comes to diet and healthy living is that don't wait for the complications before you want to switch to something that's healthy. The sooner you start, the better.
Yeah.
People say prevention is better than cure. So
Mhm.
you don't have to wait for you to develop hypertension, diabetes, or something before you want to start to switch your diet.
Yeah,
Now is probably the best time to do that.
that's true. So if you have your breakfast meal, switch it for roller meal or mugaiwa. If you have your polished white rice, switch it for
Brown.
the brown rice, the unpolished rice. If you take white bread as a family, start transitioning to brown bread. Yeah, it's like I'm I'm still trying to eat brown bread. I'm not a huge fan, but I do know it's healthier. I'm trying to move to brown bread.
The thing though also
It's
is we
difficult.
need to be careful that if you're going to eat these brown things, you're not just eating stuff that's colored brown. Because in certain types of brown bread, you find like the bread is literally brown and it looks like chocolate or something. That's not the good brown bread we are talking about. So yeah, pick the right food.
Yeah, Dr. Bugode actually advised that you can, if you have time, actually make your own bread and add in the nuts, and you can add whatever nuts you want. That will probably be more healthy. I'm actually trying to move away from fast food to home cooked food. Yeah. Um
I think that's a good thing. Be outdoors, do outdoor activities, but eat indoors. Don't eat out. Eating at restaurants, most food that's served at restaurants we know is fast food. So that's probably not the best food you
yeah.
want to be having.
They actually say that's why we start gaining weight when we reach like our 20s.
Because
Although
we're
of
spending
course we start accusing my metabolism has gone down and things like that. But actually your metabolism why am I feeling sick? Actually your metabolism only goes down after you're 60.
okay.
So you start gaining weight because you're not as active as you were. You're probably driving now when you
Hmm.
used to walk. You were broke before you were 20, and now
You are
you have,
forced to cook,
yeah, you were forced to cook, and now you have some money. Now you can eat
order
out.
food.
Yeah, you can order
Fish.
food.
You're in, but you're still ordering food.
Exactly. So those are some of the reasons they say we gain weight, because in our 20s we're actually more energetic, we go to the gym and things like that, but as we grow older we stop going to we're not as active. For example, in university I used to play netball, I would run, but now that I'm working I don't remember the last time I played netball.
That's the thing, about our white collar jobs. We spend so much time sitting. At the end of the day, you still feel tired, like you have been working or doing physical activity.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really count as exercise or as a healthy. In fact, it's very unhealthy if you're sitting all day and you're not doing and you're eating. Very bad habit. Eat, sleep. It's good to have supper early, when you're talking about times to have supper. You don't want to have supper or any meal and then straight away go to sleep, because it means
Mm-hmm.
you're not active, and whatever you're eating ends up being stored. If you eat a meal and you're a little bit active, some of what you're eating you start to utilize to produce your energy. So yeah.
Yeah. And they always say have breakfast like a king. Like a king. Have breakfast like a king. So have a big breakfast, because that is the energy that you can use throughout the day. Then have a smaller lunch, and then have tiny supper, because you're going to sleep, your insulin will be low, you go into basically storage mode. You're not using your energy for anything. You don't need a lot of food. That's why some people actually advise to cut out carbs at night, because you don't need the energy.
No, you're going to be resting. That's the point. You're using the least amount of energy.
Exactly.
So why should you have a heavy meal? The whole point of eating is so that you at least have enough energy and your body is in good shape. Don't eat for no purpose. That's why when you're starting to talk about depression and stress eating, people are now just eating because they feel like eating. Not that the body needs that food, but they want, it's a mind that wants the food.
Yeah, it's like a way of coping.
Which is very unfortunate. And also the psychology to do with eating, depression, certain people start to sleep more, which already means less activity, and then you're sleeping more, probably you're even eating more, even if you're not eating more, but just the fact that you're being less active, you're being indoors, you're spending a lot of time in your room, automatically you might start to gain weight.
Yeah. And some people advise us to say that if you tell someone who's obese, just tell them lose weight. It's like telling someone who's depressed, like, hey, be happy.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not just a switch we can
yeah,
go on and off.
So it's something that we need to look at. We need to look at, okay, this person, yes, is obese. You get that? They're eating a lot. But why are they eating a lot is the question.
Yes.
That you should be asking yourself.
You want to go to the root.
Yes, you have to find the reason. So if you can manage to fix that reason, if it's something that can be fixed, then fix it.
Yeah.
Then probably they'll stop eating. Stress eating. For example, when someone is stressed or depressed, if you treat the depression, they may stop the emotional eating
and go to at least a meal plan that's more healthy. If someone has
syndromes like polycystic ovarian syndrome, there are various ways in which we help treating that. Then with that as well.
Yeah, that's what people need to understand, that there's certain conditions that are associated with gaining weight. But what I mean by certain conditions, like your thyroid, if you've got certain conditions of your thyroid, you can probably lose weight. Losing weight in that situation doesn't mean, you're being healthy. It might mean something is wrong. So you really need to also be careful when you're losing weight. Certain diseases, TB especially, will cause someone to lose weight, excessive weight.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to see your clothes are not fitting. Probably you've maintained your lifestyle, but you're losing weight. That might be a bit of a worry to say, how come my weight is going down, but I'm still eating what I'm eating? I'm still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You probably need to look around you and say, okay, what might be going on?
Yeah, cancers can also do that.
Exactly. Yes. Very true, actually.
Yeah.
So you really need to know what's going on. And that's why I say checkups, regular checkups are also a good thing, because at least you can catch some of these things early.
Including HIV.
HIV, yes.
Actually,
HIV, diarrhea, TB,
common.
Probably the most common.
Yeah, in our setting, very common.
Yeah.
You find someone comes and really, really wasted.
Yeah.
And test them for HIV, find that they're
reactive.
Yeah. And
yeah.
If they don't have any other complications, well and good, start trying to treat that.
And at least once you start your treatment, you'll probably go back to your normal weight.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not saying that anyone who's losing weight is HIV positive, please.
Yes.
I was saying that no. Not everyone who's losing weight is HIV positive. It's one of the common things, yes, but there are other common causes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And again, we still advise a healthy diet for anyone, whether you might be living with whatever condition you might have. A healthy diet is still recommended for everyone.
Okay. So do you have any last words or last remarks
Last
to our
remarks.
viewers and listeners?
Okay, so I think commonly obesity has been associated to something of the Western world, but I think it's something that's becoming a problem even here. And I think the sooner we catch it, the better off we are. So, because we know being obese is associated with so many conditions, again, my point goes back to being the fact that let's try to eat healthy all the time, every day, whatever age. You don't have to wait until I'm over 40 or over 50. That's when I can probably cut off certain unhealthy things from the diet. I probably think that's what I have to say for now.
Okay. Well, from me, all I can advise is, of course, eating healthy. Let's try to reduce on the red meat. Let's try to reduce on the frying of food. Let's roast foods instead. Let's increase the amount of fish that we take. Let's increase the amount of plants that we take. So when we're talking about plants, they actually recommend that you take about 30 plants in a day. So it can be nuts, it can be
Grains.
grains, things like rice. All those are plants. Can have pumpkin, butternut, beans, sweet potatoes, cassava. All those are coming from plants.
So again, the key thing also is we should avoid more of the animal fat and switch towards the plant-based oils and fats, which are more healthy for us.
Yeah, we need to do that. And we need to reduce on the alcohol as well. Need to reduce on the smoking. All those habits need to go out the door. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming and having this conversation with me. It was very insightful.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to being here again.
We look forward to having you again. So guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel Health with Dr. Yvette Massacre. The more you subscribe, the more guests we get. Bye.